America podcast here at SAHQ in Oklahoma City, ahead of the Women's College World Series. Good morning. It is opening day, starting today at noon Eastern. 4 games here on this Thursday at the Women's College World Series. Let us introduce you to our panel today. To my far left, my dear friend, the host of 10 Teams, 2 Rings, Nicole Mendes. To my immediate left, our fearless leader, the great and powerful Tara Henry.
Hey.
To my right, not on staff, but man, she could be.
Yeah.
And she sure knows a thing or two about
I got the tea.
in Oklahoma City. Shay Knighten is here. And the host of the final swing. This is the final Women's College World Series for the Pac-12. And we have Aaliyah Jordan in the house. And I'm Gray Robertson. Anyway, let's move on. Nicole, I'll start with you, and then we can just bounce around the room. We were talking at dinner last night about how this is just a straight-up compelling Women's College World Series. You've got 4 great games on Thursday. You've got a lot of teams have an argument to maybe win it all, and honestly more uncertainty in the bracket than maybe ever before, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about this World Series is the draw in of you don't know how this is going to go. You look at regionals and you were like, I don't know how this is going to go. You look at supers and some of the teams that you see here, you're like, I was not expecting that. I didn't know how this is going to go. And it's been upsets, it's been close games, and that's been the coolest part. As a fan, you want to come in, you want to watch. So whenever you're watching, it's going to be a thrill. It's going to be exciting, whether you're in person or watching on TV. And then the teams talk about cross-conference matchups, talk about teams that have seen each other before. They have a little bit of something to prove. I think it's going to be really great competition all across the board, the best that we've seen in the past, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years. I think this is probably going to be one of the better ones. Tara, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we take a look at just our 4 games that we're going to have this afternoon and into the late evening, that the first matchup of the day, I know it's really early for you all. It's early for me. I'm still a little just waking up here. It are the Bruins and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Looking at that matchup, we know these teams have history, and we know what that was like in 2000 and...
That was 21.
One of those years. We both know.
It was Montana's birthday. Anyway, I'm sorry.
We all have to live those days.
We're all gonna live through them. But this is gonna be a great matchup to start off the entire Women's College World Series. Aaliyah, I'm gonna go to you as an alum. First year outside of the Bruin bubble. What's this experience been like for you?
I mean, I've only gone to the games at Easton, so obviously those have been really fun. But just to answer your question, I feel like I'm most excited to see and experience everything as an alum and as a fan. I've been here, I've won an Natty, I've lost, I've done all that stuff, done the media, watched on TV, but to be here and experience everything outside of playing is going to be really fun for me.
And Shay, you've seen both of these teams. You played against these teams, you've coached. What are you most excited about in terms of this first matchup, UCLA and Alabama?
I think it's just going to be a dogfight. I mean, kind of to Nicole's point, like, there's not going to be a bunch of offense, but also it's going to go toe-to-toe with the pitching. So I think it's just an even playing field. But between these 2 heavyweight teams, it's like who's going to punch first, but also, more importantly, who's going to punch last. And I think Alabama did a really good job of punching first and being able to hold Tennessee and get what they wanted. But also I feel like UCLA, for whatever reason, until the end of the season, Stars come up clutch at the end to pull them through on walk-offs or just get a lead that leads them into late innings. So I'm excited to see what these 2 teams have later today.
I like that you brought up Shay's history, because when I first met her last night, I said, or Nicole said, "Oh, this is Shay Knighten." I said, "Oh, I'm very aware of it."
I was like, okay.
Incredibly accurate. No, I spent my high school senior trip watching her walk off Alabama in the World Series. It was sick. No, I think that's an excellent point, though, because in the postseason specifically, Alabama's done a really good job of throwing the first punch, of striking early, of putting up a little bit of a number, of putting up some kind of lead. No lead has phased UCLA at all the last 3 weeks, and so the way that my mind has kind of gone is I think at some point in the 4th, 5th inning, Alabama's going to be winning. And the question is, will UCLA do what UCLA does, or will Alabama be able to hold them off? If UCLA grabs an early lead, then it feels like it's going the way of the Bruins. But if it follows kind of the formula we're talking about, then it's going to be about, all right, who makes the big pitch? Is it Caleb Beaver, or who gets the big hit? Is it Maya Brady? And that matchup is going to be just outstanding. Yeah. What a way to wake up today. My gosh.
Can we just talk about Maya Brady then?
Let's do it.
Yes.
How, she's so good, and I think it's just crazy that she is the niece of an all-time great. But, Aaliyah, what is it like having her as a teammate, or just wearing... For you as an alumni, what is that like of somebody to her caliber being a UCLA Bruin?
Yeah, so Maya came in I don't know if it was my 4th or 5th year.
But 3 years ago.
However long ago. She's in her 5th year. Oh my. She's in her
like I said, you're 10 years.
10 years ago. Yeah, it's funny. Sorry, I'll tell you guys that story later. Honestly, it's just amazing. I feel like when she first came in, she was like, I'm a Brady, but I want to create my own name. And I think she's definitely done that. Even though, yes, her uncle's Tom Brady, but she's literally created her own path in this game. And so just seeing her excel the way she has, and even just seeing her all the work she's put in over the past 5 years, to see her get that success is really huge.
Couple stats. Maya Brady's hitting .688 in the NCAA tournament. Which is
insane.
She's ridiculous.
11 of 16. Her World Series career batting average is .400, which is
pretty good.
Not normal.
That's average.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And Charlize Palacios is hitting .500 in the NCAA tournament with the most home runs of anybody. So, and again, kind of going back to the matchup, Caleb Beaver's giving up 1 earned run all NCAA tournament. So that's going to be what's really fun. And then you've got the Alabama offense, which has been inconsistent at times, has kind of found some moments in the postseason against Taylor Tinsley and Caitlin Terry. And, Caitlin Terry has been such a warrior for the last month. And I think that's one of the bigger questions going in as we get ready to head over to the stadium. Who's UCLA going to start? Because both options are very much on the table. I think with Alabama, you know fairly confidently that's going to be Caleb Beaver.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be really interesting to see both of them, just because last year Tins didn't really get that much playing time in really the whole season, but she was playing behind Megan Framo, Lauren Shaw, Brooke Inez, we had all this pitching staff, and so she didn't really get her own time, and so for her and Caitlin Terry both to be freshman and sophomore for the first time at the World Series, it'll be really interesting to see how which one they choose, number one, because I feel like they can go either one, but it'll be interesting to see.
Also handling the environment.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people on that field who haven't done this.
Yeah. And I think that's something that people not necessarily don't think about, but I remember just being in right field and it gets so loud. I remember my second baseman, Kinsley Washington, I'm not getting the sign. I'm like, Kinsley! And I'm like, I don't know if it's a changeup, but you cannot hear anything. So it'll be really interesting to see how not just them, but everyone handles that situation of just not being able to hear, and you're trying to be so focused in the zone, but there's so much going on. There's fans and music and just everything in between.
So I think that's a good time to pivot to the true dichotomy of been here a ton and never been here. Oklahoma Duke.
Yeah.
Oklahoma has been here at this event every year since 2015. And Duke was not a program. Duke as a program did not exist then.
Yes.
That's a real stat. Mm-hmm. So it truly is going to be all about how I think Duke handles this, because for Oklahoma, and I don't want to speak for the Sooners. We have 2 of them in this room, but I would say from an outsider's perspective, it seems like understanding how to deal with Oklahoma City is already kind of baked into the program's DNA. Is that fair to say, Shay?
I think it is. I think it's something that we've always been it's our home away from home, Hall of Fame Stadium. So now Devon Park, but I think it's something it can be for everybody, right? This is the place that everybody wants to be. Every team wants to be here. So Duke can very well make this place their home away from home. And I think it's cool, kind of speaking with the freshman idea of Duke's never been here before. They don't know what to expect. But there's also no expectation, right? To a lot of people, their seating should have been higher. That's a whole different conversation. But I also think that it's regardless of what their seed was, they're here. Mm-hmm. So your expectation for anybody that's here is go win. And I think, you match up with OU first game out, welcome to the party. But it's also like, no, welcome. Like it's a fun environment to be in. You might not hear everybody. You might not know what you're even thinking. But I think it's going to be a game of who wants it more and who's willing to go after it. Of I've been here before. I know what it's like. But also, I'm not afraid of it being my first time here. Let's just go out and see what happens.
Nicole, is the first game the time to play OU in the World Series? Do you think before they can? I'm straight up asking before they can get on a rhythm.
Yeah. Before anybody gets settled in,
Yeah.
before the nerves are gone, because I don't want to say pressure, because I don't think Oklahoma feels pressure, but they're not settled in. You want to be a couple games in and be like, okay, I got this. But again, it's the mindset going in of, okay, they haven't played on this field yet. We haven't played on this field yet. It's a new year. It's a new team for them, new team for us. Let's go at them. And I think it's less about like the first game and more so about the mindset that you're going in with your team. Because yes, you need to see Oklahoma, but if you win, there's a game after that. And there's a game after that. So you have to take everything in stride, and you can't make the moment too big, and you can't look too far ahead.
I also feel like just watching, you see Oklahoma always gets better as they go. So I feel like if Duke can come out that first game and get them, like, not while their guard's down, but like, you don't want to face Oklahoma in the games after that. Like, realistically, so I feel like the game one, I feel like is Duke's best opportunity.
I think it's like JMU though.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
I was gonna say
I
it's
know.
giving JMU.
I'm glad we're on the same page, but I think it's the same thing of like JMU came and
The JMU Dukes.
Ooh.
Oh.
Look at
All right,
you.
sorry, keep going. I'm just writing the narrative right now. At Gray
Like there's like a
Robertson,
script or
DM
something.
me.
Right? But like it's true. Like think about that. Like JMU, in a sense, like nobody who were they supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Like nobody anticipated that. But it's a cool thing, and for it to be the first time in program history of anything for Duke right now, like that's awesome. Why not want to go out and play Oklahoma? Like do it now. Do it like Nicole said. Like this is probably your best time to do it. And I agree. I do think, not from like a bias standpoint, but just like watching too, of Oklahoma does get better as the more games they have. And I think from a scouting perspective of you have your whole scouting of the whole season, but it's like, what does this team look like right now? We're not trying to beat the Duke that we played in February. This is a World Series Duke team. So what does that look like? How do we adjust from here? Same thing goes for Duke of, this is a World Series Oklahoma, not who we faced in February. So what does that look like from a scouting and, like Nicole said, a mindset standpoint of how are we going to attack game one? Regardless of who we're playing, it's Oklahoma, but every team, like I said, every team's here to win. So how am I going to put my best foot forward and win?
Yeah, and Marissa Young obviously leading her squad to their first Women's College World Series. Can they get that first win? Mm-hmm. And can they get that first win over Oklahoma? So, game 2.
Hey, and I'll ask, who does Duke start? Cassidy Kerr, Jayla Wright. You guys.
That's true.
I don't know. I think I'm going with Jayla. I don't know. Keeping the ball down in zone. I think I'm going with Jayla Wright. We'll see though.
I also feel like the lefties though. The lefties with the lefty.
Kurt.
That's a tough lefty on lefty.
Yeah. Kerr's ball jumps, man. That thing.
I think
We might see a mix.
if you're Duke, though, you want to see everything kept inside the yard. If you have down, you have a much higher percentage of being able to keep those runs off the board by the long ball. Like whenever you have to face Tiara Jennings, Alyssa Brito, Kenzie Hansen, like the list of Ella Parker, like a lot of home run hitters in a row, you don't want them to gain momentum, get those doubles, get those home runs. Let's get some easy ground outs. Let's get something that our defense can do something with.
All right, let's move on to the night session. I mean, fire me up. 7 o'clock Eastern. Let's go. We got Texas. We got Stanford. We got Texas versus Niger.
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's go. The floor is open. Would anyone like to say anything about this matchup?
I'm ready.
All right, go Shay. Take it.
No, that's my answer. Talk about if you're in the stands for that game, you're about to feel some things, but also if you're watching on TV, I know, I'll be glued to that TV like, okay, what's happening next?
Mm-hmm.
It's, like you said, it's Texas versus Nigeria. Like, excuse me? Like, a dealer of a pitcher, but also a stacked offensive lineup.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready for a good game.
I can't wait for the first Nyjah versus Reese Atwood at bat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ooh,
Well,
chills.
in the press conferences yesterday on Media Day, I think it was really interesting to hear from each of these athletes, and Reese Atwood, just her talking, the respect she has for Nyjah, how much respect the entire team has for Stanford, and what she's been able to do. But also that offense is a high-powered offense, and a mixture of youth and a mixture of veterans. So I think there was a huge, underclassmen mixed with a few veterans that have been there and been to the World Series. I think it's just the right kind of mixture of a team that's young and old, and could really give Nyjah and the Cardinal a run for their money. And the Cardinal have scored runs. Let's not forget. Like, it's this offense has the ability to put runs on the board, and once that happens, Nyjah's really, really tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've seen Nyjah a good bit over the years. You watched her, and
We're just really throwing the jabs at I was kidding.
I have to ask you, you have the life experience.
Yeah.
I have never stood in the box
That's
with
true.
Nyjah Kennedy.
I'm glad I haven't.
My coworker the other day was like, somebody said that Nyjah was probably one of the best pitchers in college softball right now, and I was like, thinking back to my career, I was like, she's definitely top 2 pitchers I've ever faced for sure.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
and
one?
what?
Yeah, who is it?
Right, I'm like, who's number one?
We're gonna leave that.
I was like, that's just pretty good.
I've never faced her, but I'm scared to the TV.
Struck out on your couch.
And I'm a sucker for a ride. I'm like,
When I tell you that ball jumps, like we were talking about Montana and like her rise ball, when I tell you her ball jumps, like you see it right here and you're like, oh, it's a ball, and then you're like, no. And, like, you're fully swinging. And then I remember when I had faced her, she had like just incorporated her changeup. So I literally have this film. I'm gonna get up and show you guys. But literally, I remember I was like ready for the rise ball, right? And she threw me a changeup, and I literally was like, oh, and then I struck out. I remember I was like, oh, okay. So I think she can mix
Okay,
things
like
like
that
that.
change up.
I was like, oh.
Good to know.
I was like, oh, great, perfect. But yeah, she's definitely, I would say, top 2.
I thought you were gonna say top 2, not 2.
I know.
I was like, so okay, well then who's number 4?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
We'll
off
talk about
camera,
that.
sorry.
Yeah, we'll
That's
discuss.
not-
Nicole, you've seen Texas a good bit this year.
Yeah.
I have. I like the staff that they have, and I like that as great as Reese Atwood was, she went through this lull in the middle of conference where she wasn't producing quite. She was still producing, but quite not at the level that she was in preseason or right now in postseason. And so the rest of the offense had to figure out, okay, Reese isn't going to hit a home run. How do we figure it out? And you saw a bunch of people throughout the lineup step up. And I think that was the biggest thing, is the fact that they're not relying on just one hitter. And I feel like that's where Texas has a little bit more of an advantage over Stanford, where if Nyjah's off, where do they go? They have nowhere to go from that. Where Texas, they have multiple arms and they have multiple bats in the lineup that I feel like it kind of evens it out.
I mean, yeah, we've discussed like the pitching conversation across the board. We could have that same conversation for Texas. There are options for Mike White, and both of these offenses obviously edge Texas, I would say, statistically. But as you said, Tara, the Stanford offense just kind of finds ways to score runs. So I don't know. This one to me, I mean, we're not going to pick any of these, or we can. But I'm not going to. This one to me is a total toss-up. A total toss-up. I really have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's game 3. Let's get to game 4.
Florida, Oklahoma State, the finale of the evening.
8:30.
Yeah. Man, how many hours? Good Lord, Terry. All right. Put it in reverse.
Please. Put it.
So, our colleague in Softball America, Tim Walton, against one of his best friends, Kenny Gajewski. Florida, high-powered offense. Oklahoma State, great pitching with Lexi Kilfoyle, and an offense is pretty darn good too. I will, again, kind of start it off, turning to our resident Big 12 podcaster, Nicole Mendes, you have chatted with a lot of Cowgirls this year. Before Bedlam, after Bedlam. And this has been a team that you've been high on from the very beginning.
I have been so high on Oklahoma State from the very beginning, just because this is the first time I feel like I've seen Oklahoma State's team have fight to them. Whenever their backs are against the wall, I don't see them, oh my gosh, what do I do? They look very scrappy, and they've gotten out of a ton of very tight games and found a way to get the win. And I think whenever you have a season like that, it makes you so much tougher in postseason. But I got to call Florida's regional, and they're just so good. They are so, so impressive. I mean, the offense that they have, Rothrock, I mean, 2 rise balls, 2 different levels, insane. The way that she's able to tunnel those pitches, it's so deceptive. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to just a feeling, but I think it's going to come down to the middle of the game, of whenever things start to get into a lull and you're kind of like, all right, like inning after inning, the team that's able to like snap it back into attention and go, okay, this inning, very important, even though nothing's really happening, like let's try to score this inning. Let's be extra focused in the 4th and the 5th, where things sometimes find that lull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be a high-scoring affair, to be honest, on both sides. I think we're going to see a lot of balls maybe flying out of the yard between these 2 programs, because they both can hit the ball. Like, that's just it's plain and simple. I know, and Keegan Rothrock, we talked about a rise ball. Can the Cowgirls get on that rise ball, get on top of it, or get that one out? I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. And when you take a look at Lexi Kilfoyle, we talked about down ball. Can Lexi get the low drop ball in the zone? Is the umpire going to give that to her? Because if
That's going to make a big
That's a great question.
if the umpire does, like, that's going to be tough.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no,
That's a
it's
consistent X factor.
Yeah.
It
Raise your
is.
hand if
No,
you
it
have
is.
personally
if she's not
victimized.
getting that, right?
Screenshots.
But you know, if she doesn't get that pitch, she's gonna have to bring that up, and that's gonna be really, really difficult to deal with that high-powered Florida Gators offense. Shay, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I think it's going to, not like a slug fest, but I do think a lot of runs are going to be scored. But I agree with what Nicole said too, of like those middle innings, like who's going to be the one to snap out of it first. Because I think both teams are very, very scrappy. Like watching Florida throughout their regionals and supers, they just found a way. Even when there was a lull, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm like, how did Florida score 5 runs? Like where did that come from? But also same thing for Oklahoma State of, they've been down, they've been at zeros for a couple innings, and all of a sudden, home run. Now they're running around the bases, scoring 2-3 runs with bunts and causing errors and all these other things. So I think it's going to be a full team effort on both sides of who's going to hold it down the longest, but also when things are low, who's going to snap out of it first and who's going to get their team to score first and score last, or to be the last to score that's going to hold the rest of the game. So,
Yeah, Aaliyah?
I agree with everything you guys said. I just when she was talking, it just reminded me. I was like, truly is like just going after talking about every single matchup. It's so even. I just am really excited to see each matchup and how it turns out.
I'm interested to see how cleanly the Oklahoma State defense can play, because I just that what was it, 5 errors against BYU? That kind of performance, if you have it in you once, that means it's still kind of lurking.
Yeah, but maybe just get them all out in one game.
And
Like,
I'm just,
right. It is real.
I know.
I bring it up though because nobody makes a defense panic more than Kendra Falvey.
Yeah.
And her ability to make you hurry is unmatched, I think, in this. Maybe by Riley Boone, that might be the closest thing in this World Series. And yeah, it's going to be a great capper to 4 games today. 4 games, people.
Woohoo!
4. All right, last thing, and then we're done. I promise. 1 bold prediction for the day today.
Like for matches.
For the day.
Anything.
today.
It can be like there's going to be an extra inning game, or there's going to be a rain delay, or something.
That's
like
not
almost
guaranteed.
Right.
A bold prediction is there is no rain delay.
That's the best.
Yeah, if you want it to be Nyjah shuts out Texas. Anything that you're feeling.
What's yours?
I'll go first. I think there's going to be an extra inning game.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is. Wise Bunny would probably say one involving Alabama, but
No.
we'll see.
No, it better not be Alabama.
You can't start off
He's
with
the whole,
one.
like,
I know.
Right, the whole
I know.
thing.
Everyone is like, "Oh no, he said that."
Right.
No, I think there'll be an extra inning game at some point. I'm not sure which one, but
I agree.
I just think they're so even. One of them is
Yes.
going to go there.
Yeah.
I agree, but I feel like it's gonna be the Oklahoma State Florida.
Really?
That's bold.
I feel like
I
because
love
they're so like evenly matched in a way, and just the relationship of the two head coaches,
Yeah.
they're the same,
Mm.
and I feel that might be the game that goes into
I
extras.
like that.
All right, everybody, buckle up. That's the
Either
game.
of you have one.
That's on Shay Knighten, just in case.
Well,
you're
I'll go
like,
hands
like,
over, so good luck to everybody.
It's like, we're going to California. Y'all have a bold prediction, maybe 3?
Okay, I was gonna say I think that we're so used to Oklahoma scoring so many runs. I think that the Oklahoma Duke game is gonna.
Ooh, low scoring.
Ooh.
I think it's gonna be low scoring.
Ooh.
I think it's gonna be by 1 or 2 runs. Whichever team.
I think we're gonna have a run rule.
Really?
Oh.
That's my bold prediction today.
Any game?
Yeah, just any game, run roll.
Nicole, you're the last one.
Bold.
That is bold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my bold prediction. We'll see if it happens.
I think. I don't know.
I thought you said that we weren't gonna have a rain delay.
Yeah, that'll be mine.
All right, no rain!
That's fine. Like, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Ain't no rain in Oklahoma. It never rains here. This is going to be a killer day. I mean, 4 games. It all starts at noon Eastern with Alabama UCLA and concludes around 8:30 Eastern. We'll see. Maybe
No rain delays.
Maybe the extra inning thing. I don't know. With Oklahoma State, Florida. Until then, what a time with these wonderful people surrounding me. Aaliyah Jordan, Shay Knighten, Tara Henry, Nicole Mendes.
Really quick.
Yeah.
What's on your shirt?
Oh, the new logo?
We have a new logo.
Oh, hold up. Wait a minute.
Go give him a close up.
Oh, I don't know if I can stand up. I mean, I just woke up and drove over here from the Alabama hotel.
Oh yeah.
Had my
Look at
coffee. Look at that.
New logo.
Yeah.
Head on over softballamerica.com. Go check it out. We're gonna have some merch, and please come and hang out with us at the Oakley event
Yeah.
tomorrow, Friday, from 12 to 4 at Penn Square, Oakley. We'll have some merch and some tote bags. And Gray's modeling and he's bending his knees.
Thanks for tuning in to the Softball America podcast. For Aaliyah, Shay, Tara, Nicole, off-screen Brady, I'm Gray. Enjoy the games today. We'll see you next time.